Welcome to the Intergalactic Food Delivery Service. You were ready. I know, Kelosal. You ready for the music?
I love that music. Love one of the best ones they put out. Hello, everybody.
Welcome, everybody, to the Soul Citizens. I'm GriffinGamingRPG, and we're back for another week of great conversation. Man, you know what? I want to give some shout outs. Y'all forgive me. I'm still recovering here from a little bit of that surgery, but we want to give some shout outs to who's in the room. Man, we got, is it old time 6AF4? I don't know if that spells something, but forgive me if it doesn't. Art Ninja, Artorius, Buns, let's see, Darkness Muda, Fist to Face, Just the Lemming, Carajo, Lily, Lycan, Mike One, Pops in Space, Rabahagri, Rufus, Space Wreck, Standard Deviation, STD, and the Dark Tux, and WTF Noob Haha, and XT Twix by Design. Thanks all of you guys for being here with us today. And I'm here with some very, very cool people. And we have a new face on the screen, which I'm going to introduce. But first, I'm going to introduce my brother here, Kelosal, on my right, on my left. What's up, brother?
What's up, Griff? Happy Father. Griff, can I give a shout out?
Absolutely. Give a shout outs.
Guys, I went to Chicago this weekend, and we had a lot of things to do for business. And Griffin and Ops Chief gave me a tour of my life with me and my friends. I want to give a huge shout out to Griffin. Thank you so much for being the hospitable person you are. Thank you for Ops Chief. They toured me around Chicago. Ops Chief showed me what was going on with O'Hare. First time been in Chicago in a hot minute. So thank you so much. Quick shout out to you guys. Thank you guys. Good to be here.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun. We were out for 5 hours, right? I got you about 10 o'clock, dropped you off at 3 o'clock, and BBG, let me introduce BBG so I can include him in this conversation. You all have seen his name in chat before. Now you're seeing his illustrious face today on Father's Day and on Juneteenth. I want to introduce you to one of our newest members of the Soul Citizens team, BigBlakGaming. There he is. What's up, my brother?
What's up? I recognize that I am just ashes along the trail you blaze.
Oh, Lordy. He already knows how to do it, don't he, Kelosal? He already knows what to say. He's going to fit in real good.
Yeah, I know
you all put this thing together. I'm just showing up. And, happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there, and powerful Juneteenth. And I'm just excited to be here. It's great stuff.
Awesome. Well, we are happy to have you on board as a team member, and happy to have you here for this kickoff for this show that we're going to be talking about on indigestion. Speaking of indigestion, Standard Deviation has a question for you, Kelosal. He says, tell us about the pizza.
Oh, the pizza. The deep dish?
Whatever you have.
I want the truth. I want the truth of
it. He didn't want it.
Not at first. I was like, no. Griff was like, no, you're getting it, such and so forth. Got the deep dish, waited 40 minutes. I'm saying, Griff, he's counting down the time to about, I'll count down. I'm like, why you count down? Because, in Florida, you get your food in a couple of minutes. And Griff is counting down how much time they're taking to prepare the deep dish. I didn't know that it really took about, 40 minutes?
40
minutes,
about average? 40 minutes is the average time. Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that because, here in Florida, we got Uno's. And we're like, oh, Uno's is fantastic. And Griff was like, nah, just wait till you get this. So got that. The best deep dish I've had in a hot minute. Griff's going to have to come up with a name. I cannot remember the name of the restaurant.
Lou Malnati's. Yeah, you went to Lou Malnati's.
There you go. Mm-hmm. And I'm quite sure there's some more out there, but that right there was the best deep dish I've had in my entire life.
And that made the best moment for me, because whenever we have guests that come to Chicago, we always want them to enjoy, especially our food. And I know when I go south, I enjoy food in the south, but I'm like, okay, I got to show this boy Southern hospitality, which means I got to spend some time with him. And then I got to take him someplace where hopefully he'll enjoy the food. So he had options, but he put his foot in the water. He said, you know what? I'm here. I said, dude, if you don't like it, you'll never have to eat it again. And he enjoyed himself. So that made me feel good. So I'm happy he had a good time while he was here in Chi-Town. So BBG, you're next, man. You're gonna have to come over here next. Have you ever had Chicago pizza yet?
See, I haven't. I've been raised on New York
style,
Jersey,
and that's
Philadelphia.
Okay. New York style, the foldable kind is fine too, brother. I ain't got no problems with that. You know what I'm saying?
New York is good.
Right.
I went to Lombardi's.
Yeah. But I'm willing to expand my horizons. So we'll have to check that out.
I like that. Well, listen again. Happy Father's Day to everybody who's out there, and as you can see. Kelosal has already got his nice statement. What does that say, Kelosal?
Go ahead and just duck down for you so y'all can recap.
Dad may be your father, Dad.
May your Father's Day be better than your jokes. Yeah, dad jokes are funny.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
Thinking about a couple of people that's in the network right now.
Yes, yeah, I'm sure you are. We won't mention FC at all, will we? Okay.
Don't go with them dad jokes, folks.
I know. And also, we're celebrating Father's Day, but you might have seen from our posts on Twitter that we're also celebrating Juneteenth. And that's one of the flags that represents Juneteenth behind us, the liberation of African Americans in the United States. A lot of people think that when Abraham Lincoln signed the Declaration Proclamation that, Black folks just broke free from slavery. No. Took quite a while before it happened. And it took an announcement that took place in Texas where the government came down and said, hey, did somebody didn't tell y'all that y'all free? And they were like, nope. And so I'm just giving y'all the short version of the story. But anyway, African Americans in America, as much as we understand Independence Day, we respect even more Juneteenth because this is a time where African Americans were officially liberated in the United States of America. So that's why you see the flag behind me, and Kelosal had one up. He'll probably put one up again too. So let's jump into this. I'm going to minimize my talking because last week I talked myself into pain for 2 hours after the show. I do want to first acknowledge that this show is going to be about food, drink. As I mentioned in one of our posts, BBG, did you know that they have over 60 different types of food in the game already?
So I was into this. I was into this as a player.
Okay.
Right, but you want to come to a debut like this for Soul Citizens a little bit prepared.
Okay.
And it wasn't until I started that research that I realized how deep the rabbit hole went. Right. And so it's just recently that I discovered that it was around that number, and that has been part of what has blown me away about this topic. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a lot of stuff we run past all the time and we see it, but we don't realize how much work CIG has actually already put into it, and more to come, right? I mean, we ain't even there yet, right? Now, I got to give a shout out to my boy Kelosal, because, a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago, he said, Griff, have you been paying attention to the food? And I'm like, other than eating it, not really. And he was like, no, dude, you need to really read up on this food stuff. So I said, okay, well, when Kelosal said me something like that, it's like, okay, I better get on it. And I started reading it. And then not only was I reading it, I started realizing that some of this stuff was already in the game. Some of the effects of this stuff, right? People used to come in and talk about, man, I'm getting thirsty too fast. Well, yeah, you keep eating them torpedo burritos, that's what's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know. In real life and in the game.
Hey, listen. And we're going to talk.
Kelosal, what patch was that for you that you started noticing that and you were calling it out?
So like back in 15.2 or something, right? 15...
So I'm going to tell you right now, as far as for Kelosal, don't mention patches because he will spew out different patch numbers. but I do know that it was right around when the foods first came out, because the first thing I always do is try to go look at the journals, BBG. I try to always look at the journals, and when I looked at the journal, it had a description. People weren't paying attention at the time, but I remember Jared them saying that a lot of stuff was going to be put in the journals, including your records, your criminal records, and things like that. So every time when an update came out, I started looking in the journals to check and see if there was an update on the journals. And I found the thing that says nutrition and something, I can't remember the title, nutrition and things like that. And I said, Griff, you need to look at this because they got a whole list of hyperbolic and hydration and NDRs, and we'll talk about that later. They got a whole list of that. And I think it's in game now. That was at the time when they just put out the food. So whatever patch that was, you guys can go ahead and put that out.
Yeah.
What month?
Right.
I don't remember which patch it was. I think it goes as far back as 3.9.
FB, you got that?
I don't. It might be because see,
it might go that far back.
I had always looked at the stuff that popped up when you buy the food. The info there. But that info in the journal, it's much more comprehensive. I didn't know that stuff was there till he told me, dude, check the journal. And I'm like, whoa, And then, like I said, I started noticing some of the effects of some of this stuff already in the game. So why don't we jump into that? Okay.
Yes.
We want to do first, guys, is give you guys a background on what the different effects are of the food, the dietary effects. And then we're going to kind of do a little role play with you all in the chat. And we're going to do some homework. So I'm going to ask the BBG and Kelosal that you guys would go to Star Citizen Tools, go to the website, have that up, because many of these foods we're going to talk about are listed there, and we're going to gauge whether or not our viewers get it right when we do this little trivia thing later on. So we got a little time before we get there, but get that up for me. I want to give a shout out to Star Citizen Tools, because a lot of this information I pulled from their website because everything was right there. And besides that, too hard to copy and paste from the Star Citizen game. So I pulled some of the information from their website. So I'm going to ask BBG, since you're our new guy here, when you're new, it's like when I worked at McDonald's, when you're new, you don't let you work the cash register. You got to go work like the wash dishes.
Right.
So I'm going to let you kick us off here and read that very first category we got for nutritional density rating, the NDR. Could you read that for everybody?
Okay. So nutritional density rating, or NDR, devised by Empire Health Services to help people eat healthier. The nutritional density rating, or NDR, takes into consideration the food's concentration of nutrients per 100 kilocalorie, the breadth and diversity of nutrients contained, and the nutritional bioavailability. So the higher an NDR score, the better a food item is for your overall health. However, it is important to remember that no single food contains all the nutrients a single person needs. So along with eating high-scoring food, the second most important thing an individual can do is consume a wide variety of food. Here's to good eating and good health.
Okay. Kelosal, you heard that. Interesting thing that no one food. Look at this guy. You see this? You see what we're doing right now? Big Black, he's already started.
I need him to diversify that selection.
All right, fine, no problem.
Right.
Right here.
Oh, there you go. He was ready.
Gotta go.
So since he got a mouthful, I ain't gonna bug him. Go ahead. You just went down the road I was going, BBG. What is that saying about food? No one food is gonna do it all, right?
Well, what it's saying is, it says that, and it says that Star Citizen is sort of modeling what the reality is in the world, right? So IRL, that's the truth, right? We need to eat in life a variety of foods in order to maintain our health. And it just shows you that the detail of the Star Citizen model is focused on doing the same thing that we have to experience in life. So yeah, it speaks to the verisimilitude, right? The effort to make this thing, if you're going to do this thing, as deep and complex as we might experience in our own lives.
Got you.
Yeah.
This idea of well-roundedness in food, like you said, from real life, I've kind of always wondered why there was so many varieties of things when you went to a store, and like especially when you go to the fruit area, different types of things. And I am curious to see whether or not they're going to actually make the gameplay. When it comes to this whole thing about food, people are always worried about, is it going to be such a distraction from gameplay that it becomes a burden or a pain in the butt, right?
Right.
And when they first mentioned food, people's minds went away right to like games like Ark and stuff, where every 3 minutes you got to be chowing something down. We saw that that's not the case. But I am interested, when you walk through the Galleria, there are a variety of different types of food. And at first I'm like, well, is that just because maybe if you just want to have Asian food, you get Asian food? Or is it because maybe eating these noodles from here and then going over here and having this coffee from here does something even better for me, later on? Again, this is just wondering, but I just wonder why that level of diversity of different types is there. That it's much more beyond than just a pretty stand, but that there is going to be some game mechanic. Kelosal, what do you think with all these foods as they gotten here?
I mean, there are a lot of things that are going to, prescribe into your good eating and good health. I think a lot of people were concerned about at one point. We know that Star Citizen is going to be a survival game, but they were concerned that was this going to be on the same basis as Ark? Was it going to be on the same basis as all these other survival games that have these hardcore survival games out there where you have to drink water every 2 minutes, and and things like that and so forth. I think these are some of the things that they're balancing out. But I think a lot of people have not, and I'm glad you're doing this on the show, Griff, because I don't think a lot of people have taken into consideration strongly investigating how the food system works or how the nutrition system works. There are some nutritions or some foods where you can stack on each other. One dude, I don't know, I haven't seen any proof of it. One dude came on and he's like, I had ate one food for 2 hours and I passed out and died, or passed out and went into the hospital or something like that because he ate the same food for 2 hours, 2 hours straight. I think it was either a hot dog or the military rations that you see that they give out there, the one of the little square pieces, is one of those that he ate for 2 consecutive hours, and he ended up being in the hospital. So there are some foods that if you eat way too much of it, is going to put you in a serious situation.
Which isn't too crazy considering that the medical is like that, right? You can OD. You can get yourself sick by taking the wrong thing. If they translate that over to food, that would be amazing to me. I think it would be very cool because then you don't just get people randomly just grabbing stuff and eating it and not worrying about any consequence, which we do in real life, right?
Yeah, Griff, that's what's supposed to happen. You sit and eat hot dogs for 2 straight hours, you're supposed to go to the hospital. That's what's supposed to happen.
True that. Okay, true that. All right, let's go on to that next one. Kelosal, could you cover Hydration Efficacy Index, the HEI?
Yes, this is important, guys. Hydration Efficacy Index, which is otherwise known as HEI, originally created by a team of nutritionists at the University of Jalan, I believe, to compare the effects of beverage choice on hydration levels during long-haul space flights. The Hydration Efficacy Index, HEI, has since been adopted by the Empire Health Services as the standard measure by which various drink selections can be compared. By considering such factors as moisture retention, absorbency rates, osmolality, caloric count, electrolyte levels, specifically sodium and potassium, a beverage can be graded using a standardized index. The higher the score, the more effective the beverage is at keeping the consumer hydrated for longer. Substances like caffeine and alcohol have the potential to decrease the index score by increasing the rate of water loss from the body. Standard filtration systems, water has a baseline score of 80. Okay. This is important in the game. I mean, I've been monitoring this, but this basically tells you, for example, you can drink a soda like Pips. Right, you get a soda like Pips and let's say Pips QR or Pips A20, and they have an HEI of 39. So obviously, it's going to give you a good hydration of water, but you also got to pay attention to the other elements in the game, the other buffs. And we'll get to. I'm quite sure we're going to get to the buffs a little bit later, but there are buffs that are associated with each of these nutritions that can either help or enable, or basically hurt you. Basically, like energizing and cognitive and boosting and things like that. So we'll get to that a little bit later.
Okay, very cool.
And it's little things in the description that excite me in my overall enthusiasm for the game, right? Like they chose to talk about the University of Jalan nutritionists for this. So you wonder, well, did they start this research after the Tavaran War, right? Did they position our soldiers with this HEI to compete and be more effective? Right, like you're wondering how all of this ties into lore. So all of it excites me, right? That type of stuff excites me.
No,
I hang on to those little things, those little nuggets.
Okay, pardon the expression, right? Okay, I got
you. Right.
Let me ask you both a question. Do you have a favorite drink of choice in the game?
Yes,
I do.
Okay.
You go ahead, Kelosal.
I got food in my mouth. Go ahead.
I'll go.
Okay.
I like Pips of all kinds.
Really?
I pay attention to Pips, yeah.
What?
And I like the HEI boosts, and I like the energizing and cognitive boosts. I some of it is a function also of where you spend your time, right?
Mhm.
So you spend time at certain, you have certain loops of certain stations, and as a result, you see certain food, and they may end up being your favorite because you're just around them more. But I like pips.
Let me ask you both a question. Did you guys, when food stands first started popping up, did you see them as decorative, or did you thinking, or were you hopeful that they would actually have impact in the game?
Is that going to be first? Yeah, I was hoping there would be an impact in game. I knew for some reason when I started seeing food stands going up, especially the one at oh my gosh, at Orison.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that to me was the ultimate food store. It is the ultimate food store in game, actually. When you go in there, everything's there. I was hoping and praying that everything was going to be immersive. Everything is going to be interactable. You're going to buy everything. You're going to touch everything. You're going to go ahead and drink anything. You can buy it and drink it and stuff like that. And Orison has that. Every restaurant has that. I first went to Microtech and went to Greens. What is that place called?
Garcia's Greens.
Garcia's Greens. And we were talking about favorite drinks. There is a whole section over there where it's nothing but protein shakes.
Yeah, like smoothies or whatever. Right.
And I started grabbing those first because I saw that they had one of the highest HEIs and NDRs there. And it not only satisfied the water supplement part, but it also satisfied the food nourishment part as well, the eating part. So, like all proteins tend to do in real life. So
I agree with that. If I run through the yoga, if I run in the middle of the yoga class over there and get to Garcia's Greens, I do pay attention to those smoothies. I agree with that because it hits both. Yeah, you're right.
It hits both. So I was trying to go ahead and save money because even we had a conversation about this, Griff. The conversation was, and I'm paraphrasing here, was money going to be a factor in the purchase of some of these goods? And right now we don't see it. We see 8 UEC here, 4 UEC here, and 15 UEC here. But for consumption purposes, for foods like those protein shakes, don't be surprised, guys, if they raise them up a little bit. Because
they'll be whole food prices. Absolutely,
right.
And that's the way it should be. I was, when Kelosal and I were talking about it before, I said it's like when you go to McDonald's, you can have that decent grilled chicken that costs $6.99, or you can have that McChicken that costs $1.99. That grilled one is a little bit better for you. It ain't a lot better, but it's a little bit better for you versus that McChicken. And a lot of people, they'll deal with the McChicken. You know what I'm saying? That's what they'll deal with. But I think that there's going to be, as you mentioned, BBG, the definite impact in how these things affect us. And we'll get into that when we start hitting this next section on dietary effects. So I'll try to read that one without sounding too crazy. In addition to the baseline scores, many foods and drinks have been additionally labeled with keywords to provide extra information about the potential effects that item will have on your health. Take a look at the list below for some of the most common effects and what they mean. So the first one here is hypertrophic. Provides additional blood flow and nutrients to key muscle groups to make them perform optimally. Where do you guys see that being used in game? Because it's there. What does that do for you in game? What do you think?
Well, the first thing I thought about when I saw that was if I'm personally carrying cargo, for example, right? If I'm, for some reason, my tractor beam is down, although if for real, if my tractor beam is down, I'm not doing the cargo. But if my tractor beam is down and I got to go back and forth, I want to make sure that my muscle groups are performing optimally, right? I definitely don't want to have anything in my system that's going to restrict that, right? So if I could have this, then maybe it levels me out and I can do that longer, more effectively.
Okay. And I'm not sure which foods have this category yet because there's so many categories. And I didn't have that much time to do that much research. Believe me, there's so much, as you mentioned, there's so much research in this, you go crazy. But who's interested in this type of effect? Is there any type of game player you think?
So yes, okay. So types of food that usually have this are usually coffees and usually, one of those protein shakes / protein bars.
Oh yeah, yeah.
A lot of the protein bars have a hypertrophic buff
Okay.
to it. So like the Calomel protein bar for life, for example. So you're gonna see this a lot with the protein bars.
Okay.
For good flow, this is going to help out definitely if you're running. If you got a small suit versus a large or heavy suit, this definitely is going to help out with that as well.
Okay, kind of more along the eyes, almost like a MRE, like if you're in the field, something that'll give you that boost you need if you're going into combat, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. All
Blood flow, absolutely.
Cool. BBG, could you hit that next one? Atrophic.
Atrophic restricts blood flow, negatively affecting the muscles, making tasks seem harder. So, that's what I'm talking about. Like, I don't want to have those things in my system when I need to do physical stuff, right? If I've got to be running from cover to cover, or I've got to be lifting cargo, I can't have any atrophic content, any food content or drink content in my system.
Okay. For those of you who don't know this term, I'm going to use a term that I think that my two companions here will understand. Will CIG create food deserts? Places where this is the type of stuff, the only type of stuff you can get. There ain't no Whole Foods nearby. There ain't, you know what I'm saying? There ain't no fresh farmers market. The stuff you got is funky.
My Kelosal, you can go first if you want, but I definitely have thoughts on that.
Okay, so you said food deserts. I would think that there has to be some type of...
Okay, example. When you go into Pyro, are you going to find the finest quality of food? That's what I'm asking you.
No, but you'll find a fruit. You may find a fruit on a tree.
Maybe.
That may be help sustain you.
Maybe.
Heck, we were looking for those when they brought out.
Oh yeah, I know, but I'm talking about. Right? But I'm saying, will CIG deliberately? In other words, if we got good food everywhere, and we know good food is everywhere, in a way, it's like we always know we can get it. But now, is there a space where we go to, and we go there, dude? The food is funky there. You better be real particular about what you grab. You know what that's what I'm saying when I say food desert. I mean, will they deliberately do that in a way to affect us and consider how we have to play the game? Because if I always okay.
Yeah, and you raised the exact setting that I think makes sense, which is Pyro.
Ship.
Right. You have to really think. You have to really think before you go into Pyro on a multiplicity of levels. And one of them is going to be, do I have the mix of food in my backpack, on my ship, in my pants, on my core? Do I have a multiplicity of foods in order to be able to make things right when I'm out here? Now, I'd also like to, and I hope that they do think that way about spaces like that. But I also hope that there are things like, if I cultivate a relationship with a war gang leader in Pyro, that I can enter spaces and places and gain access to the things that gang leader, she or he, holds in reserve for their best performers.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. So if I'm doing everyday life and survival in Pyro, it's one thing. But if I'm at a top rating with a particular gang leader or something, then all of a sudden, maybe we meet in this other room, and on the counter in this other room is fruit and a higher quality of stuff.
Right. Kelosal, kind of like Patumba. Let's say Patumba is really good, right? But can't find it in Pyro. But you've made relationship with this gang, and they've got some. Right. But that's what you were kind of saying about the fruit. Like, even if you find it naturally, there still may be means. It may be more difficult, right? You just say you'll walk up in the market and get it, but it may be that CIG places things in the game if you can find it.
Look, and you better hope your reputation is good with that gang to get it.
Right.
I mean, otherwise, you need to do with Kelosal. You need to have your exploration skill up.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay.
I mean, so those of y'all that got your 315s, you got a refrigerator in there. Those you got 300 series, you got refrigerator. Yep. Those you guys that got a carrot, you got a refrigerator in there. Those you guys that got what's that other lovely shit with little pincers?
Well, the Redeemers got them.
Yeah, they got Redeemers.
So wait. You just brought up something. Because I never thought about it. There are ships that have storage areas, and there are ships that have refrigerators.
Yep.
Will we have to refrigerate food
Yes, I think
Yeah.
they said that.
for the
I
sake
believe
of
they said that.
spoiling? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And I don't think they put in active refrigerators without thinking down the road you're going to have to make some of those distinctions.
Okay.
Right.
So you just can't put the fruit in some storage bin. You got to put that fruit in a refrigerator, or else it may decay or lose its potency or whatever.
Right. Yeah. Vitality. I like that.
Yeah, I don't have any
It'd be cool.
I don't have any things on that. It'll be cool if they did that, just theory crafting, right? It'd be cool if they had those ships that had these types of refrigerators that could keep things fresh. I mean, I'm quite sure that could be a factor in what they're doing. Don't know, but we do know that there are ships out there with refrigerators that you can put stuff in, even now.
Well, most of these jokers are only worried about putting their smoked beer in there, so that's why I'm asking about food. Okay, so that's what I want to know.
Smokes light if you're looking at your stomach and trying to manage your calories.
And by the way, the smokes has a HEI of 18 with a cognitive impairment boost and dehydrating. Just wanted to read that fact for you guys.
Just so you'll know, right? Okay. All right, let's go to energizing. Kelosal, could you pick that one up?
Yes, sir. Energizing is another buff, I believe, if that's is for lack of a better word, that provides a boost to your energy levels, allowing you to be active for longer.
Active for longer. So is this, I know that we don't have a quote unquote stamina bar, but evidently there's something more that you're going to be able to do. It could be even something more, nothing more than running. Some of you already know that armors affect how you perform. I was, in fact, trying to run through Microtech today. I was like, why is my character not running that great? Then I realized I was wearing some freaking armor, my test armor. That thing was slowing me down because I'm so used to wearing a lighter armor. So could they do that with food too? That maybe your endurance, quote unquote, is a little bit better?
Yes.
Yeah, my hope is they will do that. Yeah.
They do have it. I mean, and they do have somewhat of a stamina bar. It's just not called a stamina bar. It's called the BPI.
Right.
And when you go in heat and cold weather affects your BPI. It can affect your HEI as well. It can affect your NDR. We've seen that. We've seen where I've had light armor. I jumped into planets like, let's say, Aberdeen. Okay, where it's hot there. And as soon as I go in there with light armor, it says, okay, you got 14 minutes left or something like that. And then all of a sudden, if you look over to your food supplement, your water and your food area, it starts dropping. You start seeing negative signs and you start seeing little flashes. So if you think about it, that's a sort of stamina bar, if you think about it a little bit. And as soon as you get back into the safe spot, those things start going up, those things start normalizing. And you got to bring in foods to help kind of, supplement that.
So we pay attention to this already in less impactful ways, right? So I will jump out of the bed after being resurrected and I will run in my hospital gown everywhere I need to run to before I put on armor, because I know that I'm not going to have that stamina loss and that slowdown, that encumbrance. And then wherever I get to where I'm going to get, I put the armor on. That's a sort of, light version of this type of effect. But it all comes back to the cost, the benefits and costs of preparation, right? So in every scenario that we're getting ready to go out and do something, do we have the time or do we have the willingness to be prepared? We're going to be able to pay attention to more of these types of things. And then sometimes you don't have the time or willingness to be prepared, and then there's a cost. I like that.
Good point.
That CIG has built that in.
Good point. Okay. BBG, if you would take on fatigue, please.
Yes. Fatiguing. It has a draining effect, causing lethargy and a general sense of exhaustion. So it seems like hypertrophic, atrophic are opposite, two ends of the same continuum, and energizing and fatiguing the same way. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. I meant to say on energizing, and forgive me for going back one, but it just dawned on me. I used to play 7 Days to Die frequently. And one of the things that coffee did, you didn't drink coffee any other time except for this one particular time. And that was when you were in the winter biome. When you went in the winter biome, cold didn't affect you as much and you could stay out in the cold longer. So I'm curious as to whether that same type of thing will kick in You're mentioning Kelosal when you go on some of those moons, right? I mean, the temperatures are ridiculous, and you may have a really good suit on, but maybe if you drink this certain whatever that coffee is they have in there, I forget what they call it. We'll get to it a little bit later.
Look for it, yeah.
There's a rich and there's a mild version of it. Maybe if you drink that, your time to be out in the cold is lengthened. You know what I mean? By 15 minutes because you had that coffee before you go out. I'm hoping CIG does stuff like that because those would be great buffs. You know what I mean? That you're very conscious of. Also, BBG, if we go on a moon and you say, Griff, let's stop here. And man, maybe I don't have the suit for it, but if I drink some coffee, I can hang with you for about 15 minutes. You know what I mean?
Right.
I didn't bring the suit, but if I put on this regular suit, but if I drink the coffee, I can at least help you out a little bit versus saying, dude, I can't go out there, man. All I got is this flight suit on. It ain't going to work. You know what I'm saying? So there could be some other side benefits to it. This one, fatiguing. This is interesting to me because this is like eating on Thanksgiving, you know? You know, is this something where the food is easily accessible, cheap, but be aware that if you eat it, you might be a little pooped out for 15, 20 minutes in the game. Now, maybe it's no big deal if I'm going to eat it and go pilot my ship. You know what I mean? And I know I'm going to be in quantum for 10 minutes, 15 minutes. But I don't want to mess with nothing like this if we're getting ready to get deployed, right? Maybe there's even effects of using equipment. You know what I mean? Maybe my reaction time when I'm mining all of a sudden ain't so great. There's a whole lot of stuff they could do. Mind y'all, with theory crafting, don't y'all go back and tell CIG we said this. But
right.
There's possibility that I'm just saying all this stuff ain't written for no reason. And it's there because in somewhere or other they are going to implement this in the game. The question will be to what level and what areas, how much it will affect us, you know.
I think that's right. And I think that, you know, we've got, 59, 60 different food categories now. But I could imagine other areas, let's say, you know, Pyro, for example, might have its own set. You might have a whole 20 or 30 food types that, because of the nature of the environment, because, you know, you're a little bit further away from manufacturing, there's a little bit less of an expectation of a full diverse population, that the food categories there tend to be ones that do less for you and maybe are a little bit more harmful.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot, for example, right now of food items that fatigue you directly.
Right.
But maybe we'll see more of those depending on the system.
Right.
Right. I mean, I probably could see a lot of that in these of the consumables, the edible foods that they have out there, the plants. I don't know. I'm trying to look through each one and try to check to see if I can find something that deals with that. But if you tackle one of those guys, if you're one of you may need to at one point, Griff, if you're in those areas that you're talking about, where you basically have no food and you have to meet a species or somebody that can be able to give it to you if your reputation is high, you may have one of those types of foods that says, okay, your HEI is 6, but it does have a buff of fatiguing. And you may need that 6 HEI, and accept the fact that you're going to be fatiguing because that's the food consumption that you're going to have. Yeah. So you're going to have to make some hard choices if you put yourself in that situation. So you need to make sure you plan, guys, before you get out there.
Yeah. Sand Groper, to answer your question, yeah, we are already seeing in the game. And you're right. The med bed is a quick, inexpensive way to get yourself together. But when you do eat food, their health sustenance does stay longer. So yeah, we are seeing those type of effects. Yeah, Kelosal, go ahead. Can
I talk about the med bed real quickly? And chat, maybe you can help us out with this, because what I've noticed with the med bed, and like I've been in Chicago this week, so I haven't played Star Citizen at all. But I just got back today. But when I've jumped into the med bed, yes, it boosts you up, but it only boosts you up to 99.
No, that's exactly right. That happened to me literally today.
Okay. Right.
I kept waiting for it to go over. And it never went up. It never went over. It just stayed at 99.
And then here's the kicker. Have you also noticed, BBG and Griff, that once you get off of that bed, your HEI and all that good stuff drops quicker.
That's what we're saying.
It drops quick.
Mm-hmm.
For some
Yeah,
reason,
I think that's what Sam Groper is saying in the chat too.
Right.
That's exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You have to get something to supplement that, because I'm gonna tell you right now, the hospital bed is just a temporary to boost. It's not gonna boost you up all the way to 100. And then once you're in there, some people are like, "Oh," I was like, "Well, why is my stuff dropping? Why am I at 77 after 45 minutes?"
Mm-hmm.
Or things like that. And then what I started doing was, as soon as I got to the hospital bed to go ahead and try to heal myself, I went and immediately starting to eat stuff to give me a buff. And as soon as I did that, I stabilized myself for an hour.
Yeah, it's almost like you know, when you're in the hospital, you're not eating, but you're getting IV.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And the IV is there to stabilize you, get you ready, but it's not the sustenance you need. So as soon as you come off that IV, you gotta go get some food.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for the follow.
Bedivere, thank you for that follow. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. By the way, guys, if you have any questions for us, the little ellipse at the bottom near the chat, you can put it in. We've already got some questions for today's show. But if you got a question, just hit that little eclipse down there and put your question in, and we'll address it a little bit later. Okay. All right, let's go to the next one. BVG, I'm asking if you would read that one, please, for cognitive boost.
Yes, cognitive boosting encourages brain function by allowing additional focus while performing complicated tasks. Very interesting.
I would think that you would probably see this in coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know. But there are a lot of things that we can probably pull up really quickly. I know I popped a couple of them with cognitive boosting.
Mm-hmm.
This is something definitely needed for, definitely for PvP.
Mm-hmm.
Encourages brain function for allowing additional focus while
what about
performing
like if you're like a
tasks.
sniper or something like that? What do you think?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Could be that as well. What came to mind for me was hacking. And maybe hacking at its more complex level as they evolve that piece of gameplay. Maybe this could support getting that done quicker. Right? That type of thing.
That would be good. Yeah, that would be very good. I like that. Okay.
But all of those are tasks that are complicated, that involve multiple things that we have to be thinking about. Right. So.
Okay. Let's do the next one. Kelosal, cognitive impairing.
Cognitive impairing stymies brain activity, making it difficult to focus for long durations. Of course.
So now you can't lock in on that sniper. The sniper can't focus. He can't. He keeps coming out of that. That when you take that secondary button and look down the scope, it keeps coming out of there because you can't focus.
I'll give you a good example for those of y'all who refuse to believe that this item does that. Beer. Smokes. Those got a keyword about talking about. Yeah, I just got a beer from Grimhex. So
yeah.
And then you're wondering why you're seeing a little bit of fuzzies on your screen when you're launching from your ship.
Yeah, Smokes Light does it for real. Yeah.
You can lose that weight, but you can lose your eyesight too, buddy. So go for it.
Yeah. If we haven't put the link in, we'll send the link to you guys, but later on, we're going to ask you to play the quiz game with us. Don't cheat. You don't have to look at the thing. We just want you to take guesses and see what you think is right. But we are going to put this link in here so you guys can follow along with these different foods and stuff that we're talking about. Because I think it is beneficial for everybody to understand how important this stuff is going to be in game. Okay, where did we leave off at? That was impairment, right?
Cognitive impairment. Let me get to the...
Yeah, go ahead, Kelosal. You take that next one. Yep.
Okay, hypometabolic. This is usually the opposite of hyper, but hypometabolic digests slowly, making you feel satisfied for longer.
Right. That's that nutrition bar, right? Where you eat it and it goes through the gut and the gut biome much slower, so that you've had that sense of fullness much longer. And it's almost like when your faucet is dripping, it's just dripping out that nutrition across a longer period. So
let me ask you a question. Can you stack these buffs with different types of foods you have? For example, let's say you drink coffee, and let's say the coffee has a cognitive boosting. Okay. And all of a sudden, but we know that sugar tends to have a quick high and a quick down, right? So let's say you drink coffee that gives you cognitive boosting, and in order to stabilize that or to slow that bonus to keep it from dropping quickly, you take something that has a hypometabolic buff to it. Will it stack? Can it stack?
Okay.
Right, and does it stack 1 for 1 or some percentage thereof? Right.
Or does it cancel? Does it also cancel too? If I drink that coffee
and
then throw a beer behind it, I'm curious.
I know it does cancel.
Okay.
I know it does cancel.
Okay.
Because I've taken some nutritional foods where I get a plus sign, and then I take something that's completely the opposite of what it was supposed to do, and it went from a plus to a regular to nothing, and then it went to a negative.
Okay.
I've also taken something where there's a double plus sign. And I don't know if anybody's investigated yet, which is can you double stack? Can you eat enough to where you get a double plug, where you get a double bonus, and then that says, okay, that's the highest you can go, and all of a sudden, can you eat it for 2 hours and kill yourself? I mean, so
if you can eat hot dogs for 2 hours and go right where you're supposed to go, my hope is that you can eat positive stuff, but it'd be interesting if that's on a curve, right? Like even the positive stuff, if you eat it for 2 hours, you end up in the hospital.
Yeah.
Or maybe there's a stack with a few, and then it becomes a negative.
But to answer Griff's question, I have seen a cancellation in foods. Yes.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right, BBG. Let's do this next one. This breaks my heart because I'm a hamburger eater and I like going to Whammers, man. So read this one for us.
Hyper-metabolic. Digest quickly, increasing the likelihood you'll be hungry sooner. And I join you in that, Griff. I'm a hamburger connoisseur, so you know. I wanted to do me right, but I see that
I know. Vengeful. Hey, thank you, Vengeful. We appreciate that.
Thanks, Vengeful.
Thanks for this.
18 months. 18 months. That's awesome. Yeah,
awesome.
And this does step into those foods that fall into that very accessible, right? The hot dogs, the burgers, things that you can get with no problem. In fact, I almost laugh because some of the places you get off the ship, and that's the type of places right there when you come off. And it's also the same place that you're going to see on your way out the door. So, you have to choose. Did I get my stuff earlier? Do I go back to the Galleria, or do I just go ahead and grab this hot dog? Because it's time for me to walk out the door.
You see how upset Whammer was when he said thanks for the follow after the end. You see his eyes? He was upset because maybe some of his foods may be suggesting that they're, hyper-metabolic.
Maybe so.
And his brothers and sisters.
Well, and I think Whammer's got to up his game, right? Because I see 6, 7. How many different types of hot dog we got in the game?
Oh yeah, I know. Well, there's 6 different types of burgers, so it ain't too bad.
All right.
It's not too bad.
Whammer got enough of them.
Yeah,
he's got a couple.
I know.
Even some. He's got a veggie one too. He's got an off product.
All right, Kelosal, can you hit hydrating?
Yes, sir. Hydrating helps your body to better absorb water, allowing you to satisfy your thirst for longer.
By default, Vesta is around everywhere.
Yeah.
You notice that? But if you want to find that smoothie, Jack, tough. I know there's one in the spaceport in New Babbage. I know Garcia's Greens has it, which in a way makes sense, right? That's Apple City, right? All of the geeks are there.
Right. Or if you want to take the time to go in and out of Orison, you can get to some Garcia Greens. Right.
You ain't gonna find it in Grimhex, I can tell you that.
Nope.
Which again lends myself to where things are located in the verse, and the method behind the madness for why certain things will be everywhere. Some things you won't be able to find.
Well, do we find the synergy drinks at Grimhex? Because synergy, we talking about the green bottles and
that is there.
Find those everywhere, and that is energizing and that is hydrating with an HEI of 48.
Yep, that is there. Yep, absolutely. Okay, BBG, dehydrating.
Dehydrating causes your body to lose water, making you thirstier. So there's a lot of items that we see that have that negative effect.
Have either of you guys died from thirst yet in the game?
I've let it happen.
Sneak up on you? It snuck up on you?
I purposely let it happen. I wanted to see what it was like.
I've gotten close. I've been down to like 2%, 3%, and chugging that bottle at the last minute because I finally made it someplace. But I haven't died yet. Not yet. Mighty Heidi says, I did. Okay, fair enough. Okay. This is a curious one. Healing provides vital nutrients to help your body naturally repair itself. Now, I haven't seen that yet. You guys know of anything in the food in there that you eat or take and your health bar starts going up?
I have not
seen that yet. No.
Where is it, CIG? I have not seen that buff yet. Somebody's going to have to help me out.
I mean, chat, we could ask the chat, but I have not seen that.
Yeah, chat. Any of you guys seen that one? Because that one.
Mighty said he did.
Now, to VVG's point, this might be one of those things that as the universe expands, different systems.
Oh, okay.
There may be a tree of life somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Where if you eat this thing, for humans, it actually regenerates you or whatever, in some small way. Or maybe it stops you from your health dropping. I don't know. The med bed. No, fast card, not the med bed. Anyway. All right. Well, anyway, we'll see what happens if that pops up in game. Next up, Kelosal. Toxic.
Next up, toxic. With some of these people in Reddit. Contains elements that are detrimental to your health and can cause damage if consumed in large quantities. In other words, those consumables that you see out there. What can we name?
I haven't tried to do anything like overdose on food yet. I haven't tried to eat like something to a point to see whether or not I'll actually start, getting sick enough that I'll die. I know people are doing the whole med pen overdosing thing, but with food, it'd be an interesting test. We may have to do that for science, Kelosal. We may just have to go in. Oh, you have?
I've done it.
Oh, God. What did you eat?
This one did. Those hand minables that you can go ahead and pick up.
Oh, that stuff. Ugh.
Okay. So
the cave poop.
I don't think I ate the poop, but there are other items that
he's like, I don't want to cop to that.
There are clearly other items that it says it's toxic and things like that. And I was like, let me just go ahead and try it. And I tried it, and it drops you tremendously and really quickly. So quickly. So you might want to not do that, or if you want to do it for size, go ahead, go for it. Just make.
It's alpha, right? So this is the time to find out, so that when the game kick off and the neophytes come around, we can go, don't do that.
Do it once, twice. Go please yourself.
Okay. Let's see. Mighty Heidi, thank you for that follow. Whoever says thank you.
Thanks for the follow.
All right.
Thank you very much.
A couple more to go here. Immune boosting, BBG.
Yep. So immune boosting helps your body stay healthy when exposed to harmful events. And we've got a couple of detox items that we have in the verse that have this buff, immune boosting. So countering that stuff when you come across it.
A lot of the protein shakes also have this.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Kelosal, earlier about how there is some things that you can do to cancel out the effects of something else in game. So maybe there is that situation where, you have to eat something because you have no other choice. But if you happen to get to another location and there's something that's better, you can take that or eat that, and then it'll compensate for the bad stuff that you had to take down. Kelosal, is it this last one?
This is the last one. Immune suppressing weakens your body's ability to fight off harmful elements.
Now, they keep using this term harmful elements for both of these.
Right.
If you're exposed to them or suppressing. Is this maybe when we start getting to environmental things such as radiation, poisoning,
like
gases? Yeah. What do you think?
I think that's exactly right.
Temperature? Okay. Yeah.
Right. Right. But I'd also like to see these, I wonder how they would impact Kelosal after he ate some of those mined items.
Those harvestables. Yeah. Yeah, I guess BBG. We need to try it sometime tonight or
Yeah,
sometime.
maybe.
Anybody tried it? Anybody can go ahead and test. Chat.
Get out here in these citizen streets and find out what's going on.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and start our little quiz for everybody, if that's okay. So, without looking at the cheat sheets, y'all just put it in chat, and we just want your best guess of what you think of these different food groups that we're going to present. Some of these might be obvious, but there may be some that ain't so obvious. So, let's start out with this very first one here. What is it here? This is the coffee. I mean, the tea. Coffee? The tea. There's a dark version and a light version of it. Where's it at on the list here?
It's a tea.
You know what? It is actually on the webpage. If I go there, I can find it easy. Black Mountain Sujin tea. Good or bad for you? What do you guys think? Put it in the chat. Is it good for you or bad for you? Black Mountain Sujin tea. We have a mild and a dark.
Were you listening? Were you paying attention?
Okay, Lycan says good. Robert says good. Hey, it's Nick says it sounds good. This is a coffee that makes you fart. Thanks, Glazestone. Pop's good. Jaja. You guys are right. This one has immune boosting and cognitive boosting. HEI of 21. HEI of 21. It is that is a good one to have. Okay, they're doing all right so far. Let's take a look at the next one here.
Yes.
Yeah. For those of you who know what that is, Buster's Chocolate Bar. What do y'all think? Fish to Fish is bad. Robert Bose is bad. Pops in Space says, boy, nobody's liking that bar. Glacier says, hey, what's in it? Okay. Liking bad. Can one of you guys tell us what that one is? Have you got it on the sheet? Have you got it?
Yeah. Go ahead.
What did it say about Buster?
I was just going to say, well, the first thing is, somebody said, what's in it? Smooth sesame paste, salty roasted nuts, and a rich chocolate coating, all combined.
There you go.
To make Buster's the classic treat that the Empire has loved for over 200 years. Buster's or bust.
That the Empire.
The Empire.
Oh, God, don't get me started.
But this is a buff, actually. This is not necessarily bad for you.
Jaja got it right. Okay, Jaja got it.
2 buffs, actually, energizing and hypermetabolic.
Okay,
yes.
okay.
It cost you a whopping 3 AUEC.
Okay, all right. Let's check out the next one. Calomel bars. Got the protein bar for life, and you got it in 3 different flavors: fried tofu, grilled steak, and roasted chicken. What do y'all say, chat? Good or bad? Good or bad?
Hey, it's Nick in the chat said terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible. It sounds terrible. I don't want chicken in a bar. I'll tell you that right
Pops
now.
is nasty good. Okay.
Yeah.
I say
half y'all don't know that. Half y'all don't know that those hot dogs flavors got parts of chicken and everything else in them. So y'all be happy with chicken in the bar.
All right, Colosso, is this one good for you or bad? Let us know the calomels.
All right, so it is. It's not good. It's not good. I mean, it's hypertrophic. So, remember, hypertrophic is digest quickly, guys. It increases the likelihood that you'll be hungry sooner. Okay,
don't let the name fool you. In other words, huh? Calomel.
Right. I mean, it costs 5 AUEC, but it has an NDR of 20, which is good. But it is going to basically make you hungry. Okay. So be careful with these nutritional bars. Okay. Protein bar for life.
All right. Next up, a popular name we see in the verse.
When you eat chicken in a bar, that's what's supposed to happen. But anyway.
All right. Cruise Dark, Cruise Flow, Cruise Lux.
These are my favorite.
What do y'all think about these here? Cruise. Good or bad for you? Anybody got any ideas? Face says very good. Lycan says good. Robert Vo says good. Pop says it sounds good. What do you guys say about this one? BBG?
Yes.
How about this one?
So This is described as an optimal nutrition drink, and it's coming across in its buffs and its NDR and HEI as just that, right? So you get an NDR of 30, an HEI of 38, and you get buffs of hypermetabolic. Remember, which is hypermetabolic, which is digest slowly, makes you feel satisfied for longer, and hypertrophic. So overall, the cruise line of consumable drinks not only restores thirst, but it's both the NDR and HEI metrics. It's good stuff.
And it's a balance here. It kind of balances itself out. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And 5 AUEC. That's a little expensive, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Next one up. Pow.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah. Now, if y'all don't know what that is, y'all know what that is? That's from Irmer Family Farms ice cream. They've got the Chibanzu, the chocolate, the coffee, the fat-free, and the Lunas ice creams. Good or bad for you? Good or bad? Mr. Face says it will dehydrate you.
It'll make you run to the toilet.
Okay. All right.
We finally got to it. We finally got to a colossal toilet gameplay.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Bring out that cutlass.
Irmer Farms, y'all. Irmer Farms. What do you got to say about this one? Colossal, can you tell everybody about Irmer Farms, what the deal is with it?
Well, Irmer Family Farms, fat-free ice cream / what are the ice creams you got out there? The coffee ice cream / the Lunas ice cream. Those are the ice creams out there. This premium 100% real dairy ice cream blended with all natural Lunas fruit puree is handcrafted by the skilled artisans of the Irmer Family Farms. It costs around 5 AUEC. It is fruit container. It has an NDR of 10, and it has 2 buffs: energizing, which is good, and a hyper metabolic, which digests quickly, increasing the likelihood that you'll be hungry sooner. So,
right, this is something if you got nothing else. You got nothing else.
Yeah.
No, this is not something to eat when you're hungry. This is something to eat when you've already eaten something healthy and you're just trying to, get some chocolate or something.
You're trying to prolong something.
Right.
Quick boost, but it's going to fall off, right?
Yeah, like and E in the chat said, this is what goes in the fridge, maybe.
There you go. There you go. All right, another popular name here, Fizz. Fizz, you got cola, muscat, peach, soursop, triple berry. Fizz. Good or bad, y'all? It says bad. Jajad says bad.
Well, it's a great logo to look at if you go to ArtCorp.
I was gonna say, maybe we can figure out whether it's good or bad based on how robust their advertising has to be, and they got some good advertising.
Yes, they do. What's that term? Fizz, taste the fresh.
Right. You get that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it bounces on your head. Wonderful graphic, CIG.
Now, have you all noticed that when you drink these things like Fizz and stuff, you got to drink about 6 cans of this stuff? One can don't cut it.
That's because
it's because the HEI is relatively low.
Exactly.
Relative to other products.
Yeah. BBG, tell them about this one. What's the HEI and what's the buff on it?
So it's 16, and it does the same thing that the ice cream does, right? Like it is a quick hit on your HEI, it'll energize you, but it's hyper metabolic, which means it's going to go through your system. You're going to have to eat quicker, right? So for those folks who, for whatever reason want to, if you don't you might be one of those players who go, listen, I want to get the eating and drinking done and not worry about it for the rest of the session. This is not the thing to drink. Because then you're gonna be right back having to drink some more. So,
although it does give you a better NDR than wait a minute, is it NDR the HI? Is it? Oh, it's the HEI. Oh,
yeah,
it's not NDR at all.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. This next one up.
That's why the advertising is so strong.
Flood. We don't see Flood too much, but this is a caffeine boost. All right, chat. What's it gonna be? Good or bad? Caffeine boost. Flood. Some of you may have had some Flood. Okay, Heads Nick says both. This says bad. Lycan says good. All right. Pop says good. All righty. Colossal, tell us about Flood. What's happening with Flood?
Well, Flood is the release of flood of stimulants throughout your body, with each swallow of its scientifically crafted formula of enhancing ingredients and energizing flavors designed to take not your breath away beyond normal. Take you beyond normal. I mean, it's a caffeine boost. It has an HEI of 18. It costs 4 AUECs. And it is dehydrating buff and a cognitive boosting buff.
So maybe a can of Flood before your hack. What do you think, BBG?
Right. So
that's fine.
You're going to have to deal with your dehydration on the back end, but maybe it gives you that cognitive boost for that. When we say complex set of activities, right? Whatever that might be. You're doing some hacking, you're doing some PvP, but know that on the back end, you're going to have to solve for that.
Yep.
Good point.
I mean, those of you Fortnite folks, almost like when you're trying to go ahead and buff yourself with a shield, real quick and things like that. This may be one of those ones. If you want to do some type of complex situation such as hacking, you can go ahead and take this, improve your chances of hacking, and then make sure you have yourself a bottle of water or a protein shake on the side to go ahead and kind of level it off after you've done that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and that's just us theory crafted and hope crafted. I hope that hacking at the highest level is a really complex activity.
Yes, there is a nutrition label on those bottles, one line. Believe it or not, it's kind of scary, but the details are so crazy that you can get close enough to read this stuff on the bottle sometimes. Okay. Colossal, Garcia's Greens. What do y'all think, chat? Garcia's Greens.
My favorite shop.
We've been talking about them a little bit. Is their stuff good? They got that smoothie, that citrus smoothie. They got all different types of smoothie.
Garcia Greens make me want to be better in real life.
Telling you, right?
All right. Colossal, tell them about the Garcia's Greens.
As soon as I can find it.
Whammer make me want to be bad.
Oh, you know what? They don't even have them on here.
They do.
They have the smoothies.
They got the other one. I don't know that the Garcia one is in there, but you can, the Green Vitality, under G, Green Vitality smoothie.
Okay, there it is. Okay. All right, Garcia's Greens. Green Vitality Smoothie is a blend of vital nutrients densely packed into this bright combination of leafy greens. She costs about 5 AUEC. It has both NDR and HEI stats. So the NDR gives you 15 and your HEI gives you 39 with a buff that is immune boosting.
And that's the one to get right there.
Yeah, so that's definitely a good choice to get
Okay.
for all three of these.
Good stuff. All right, how about that one? Get up coffee. Get up. What do y'all think, chat?
Yeah.
Would you drink Get Up coffee?
I don't even drink ice cold coffee in real life.
Roast it with care. Enjoy it ice cold. Alrighty. BBG, tell us about some Get Up.
Where is this?
It may not be in there. Let me see. Is it in here? Let me double check. We may have to skip that one. Boom, 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 boom. It ain't here.
But my guess is it'll be that cognitive boost and maybe a negative buff on that, right, on that fall off and that hypertrophy. But we'll have to take a look at that. I that's one of the ones I'm going to have to pick up and look at the nutrition label myself.
Yeah. Griff got a little excited, y'all. We ain't doing all 60 food items. This probably shouldn't have been included because I didn't have the description for it. So sorry about that. All right, we'll go to the next one, though. Aha! Yes. The infamous hot dog. We have melty dogs. We have double dogs. We have breakfast dogs. Regular dogs.
And a little bit. Yakisoba dog.
That's right. So what y'all think? No chili dogs, Melkari. Sorry. Robert says bad.
We have a graphic of a chili dog.
Darkness Muda says double chili dog might actually be good. This is terrible. All
That
right.
cheese,
All right. All right.
processed.
BBG, what we got for the dogs, man?
So almost all the dogs in the game, whether it's the double dog, the chili dog, the yakisoba dog, the breakfast dog. I can't believe they got a breakfast dog. Almost all of them have the same NDR, which is 4. So you're getting that covered in a robust way. But you got 2 buffs. One is dehydrating. Right? So you got to counter that with a good drink. And then you've also got a buff of hypermetabolic. So remember, hypermetabolic is that thing of digest quickly, increasing the likelihood that you're going to be hungry sooner. So it gives you that boost, but it's short term, and then you got to get something to drink.
I can see if somebody ate this for 2 hours, I can see how they died.
No, that's not. That's not.
Yeah,
that's the melty dog. That's cheese on the melty dog.
I'm just saying, even with a double dog, somebody ate a double dog for 2 hours straight.
Oh my God!
And you're dehydrating yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. At the same time,
heart attack. Heart attack.
And you're turning your whole system hypermetabolic.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's what's supposed to happen. I'm glad the game worked right.
That's funny. That's funny. Okay, next one up. I forgot how you say this. The Karobi Energy Bar. All right, y'all. The Karobi Energy Bar. Yay or nay? Good or bad? Don't let the marketing fool you. Is it good or bad? Melkari says good. Pop says good. Glaystone says bad. Lycan says good. Oh, Death Bunny good. Rabahagri, man. All right, BVG, what's the status on this one?
So the Karobi Energy Bar this is the cranberry green tea and carob one. Made with nutritious, wholesome ingredients, this great tasting bar is formulated to provide sustained energy to help you maintain your best performance. It's an NDR of 18, so one of the lower ones, but at 5 AUVC, and it does have a buff of energizing. All right.
Okay.
So it does provide a boost to your energy levels, allowing you to be active for longer. No secondary negative buff, just that one. So.
Okay. By the way, I meant to tell you guys, if there's something here that you favor, let folks know as you go through. If there's something that we call on that you can say, yeah, I definitely recommend this or whatever. Kelosal, let's take that next one. Lula's Pentambu fruit juice. That sounds like something we'd be drinking on
Juneteenth.
Juneteenth, right?
Get some Pentambu.
Right.
That's right.
Boo. All right. So let's check to see what everybody thinks about this.
Yeah, what do y'all think? Is this good?
Good or bad, chat?
Somebody gonna say tastes great. Lust feeling tastes great. What do y'all think? Good. We got all goods for this one. Looks like pineapple juice. Okay. Good. It's fruit. All right. Let's take a look at it. What is it, Kelosal?
Now I know. Okay. So Lula's Patamba juice, fruit juice. Isn't there a Patamba fruit in the game?
Yep.
Okay.
That's right where it comes from.
Right. So it is a consumable drink used to restore a player's thirst. Experience the flavor of freshly picked whenever you want with Lula's Patamba juice. This came out around Alpha 3.14, and it has an NDR and an HEI, and I believe you can get this at Orison, at Kelto. By the way, please go ahead and invest your stuff wisely.
Here we go.
NDR of 14, HEI of 35, and it does have a buff of immune boosting. So you might want to pack your kitchens and stock them full of this juice.
Right. When you start stocking them fridges, I think this is the one.
This is one of them.
Yeah.
Okay. Very cool.
GoMap said mixed with tequila.
All right.
That's later.
Yeah, really. All right. This is the one meal bar, one meal nutrition bar, fried toast. Is that one meal? Is this the right one? I read the wrong one earlier. That was a different bar that was up here earlier. This is the one that's fried tofu, grilled steak, roasted chicken, and spicy salmon. Oh no, I didn't read this one.
What does fried tofu taste like? Nothing.
Dude.
Depends on what's in it, right? By itself, nothing.
All right, chat. Is it good, bad?
Oh.
I didn't ask you if it's nasty. I just want to know if it's good for you or not. Let us know. Is it good for you? A lot of goods. Okay, good. All right, good. All right. Kelosal, what about
Yes,
that
sir.
one meal nutrition bar? What about that one?
So the 1 meal nutrition bar, fried tofu and the like, is a 1 meal optimal nutrition bar. It's a specifically balanced and complete meal replacement that's ready when you are.
Mm-hmm.
It has a NDR of 21, which is not bad, better than the other ones that we've seen.
Mm-hmm.
And the buff is hypo-metabolic, which is definitely good because remember, hypo-metabolic digests slowly, making you feel satisfied for longer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I would definitely snatch all these bars if you are on a quick mission.
All right. Those some
And if you want to be mad at your taste buds, fried tofu by itself. That's crazy.
throw some 1 meals in your leg armor, boys and ladies. That's what we got to tell you. Okay, 1 meals are okay for you. All right. That other luminous can that we see everywhere, Pips. Pips, they don't have vending machines that aren't working yet. Pips. Is Pips good or bad, gang? What do you think? Pips good or bad? They look pretty.
All
pretty.
them colorful cans. Is it good for you?
Yeah, they look good. There's the A20, there's the Energy T17, the Q66. Which one do you think they're good or bad? PVG, enlighten us, please.
So, whether it's any one of those variants, they claim to be heavily scientifically researched to provide optimal energy restoration and targeted thirst quenching. And they say they're trusted the verse over. The HEI for Pips is 39.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so that's very good. And it looks like the buffs are both positive, energizing and cognitive boosting for Pips.
How about that?
So that's why I like Pips.
Yeah. See, I think people got fooled because it's in a can, and we know Fizz is funky for you, right? But Pips is okay.
Yeah,
Just to face it, Pips is like Bad Dog 2020. What's the word, Thunderbird? That's all right. All right, we take a look at it.
Oh my God. Okay. Hope 45. Okay. All right, let's go on to the next one from there. Now, these ready meals have saved my life a million times. What do y'all think about these ready meals? Y'all have seen these before? Sometimes in the gun shop, grab one, little chunks of something.
Yeah, I mean, for folks that have been in the military, these just look and remind you of MREs.
Yep, absolutely.
Meals ready to eat.
Absolutely. All right, BBG, I'm going to come back to you on this one. What do you think? Ready meals.
Yeah, it's a type of quick meal you can, in a sachet that you can store long term.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so these are the types of things you want to stock in the back of the carrack when you're out.
And they're not cheap.
No, 8 AUEC.
But when you eat these suckers, they fill you up.
Yes,
they really do.
Because they've got an NDR of 60.
Mm-hmm.
No HEI, but that NDR will handle it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So whether it's beef chunks or chicken, beans and rice, chicken patty, meatball marinara, NDR of 60. So, good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
No buffs though.
Mm-hmm.
But that NDR is absurd.
Yep.
So it had to be the hot dogs that that dude was eating if that was the case.
All right. Smokes, y'all.
Yeah,
Smooth, crisp, and always easy. Smokes. Good or bad, gang? Good or bad? When you're in Grimhex watching those races, how many smokes are you gonna put down?
Griff, you sounded like Billy D. Williams when you said that. Say that again.
Colt 45.
You said smooth, crisp, and always easy.
All right. So what do y'all think? Good or bad on the old smokes there? Got a whole tub of it right there in Grimhex. You just walk up to the tub and grab you one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really?
Right.
Where is that?
Yeah, when you go into the race in the racing
Grimhex
area in Grimhex.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
They're in those big old tin containers, 10 buckets,
them tubs
full of ice in it.
Yep. All right, Kelosal, tell us about the smokes, brother.
So this came out around 3.10, and it's crafted from select rice and barley for a traditional flavor passed down by generations of brewmasters.
Mm-hmm.
That's the taste of smokes light. So, smokes look like they have the same HEI of 18. It has cognitive impairment and dehydrating. Say it ain't so. So I would love to see a whole bunch of people take this at GrimHex and just stay there and just drink, and see the drunken stupidness that you see over there.
I want to see if it impacts hand to hand. I want to see people swinging and missing and falling down.
All right, that's smoked, y'all. There's a few more to go here. Now, here's one I think is going to throw a lot of people off, all right? The infamous Snaggle Stick. There's the pepper, the Smoke Daddy, and the Takora Bites. Are Snaggle Sticks good for, I can't even, I'm lisping. Are they good for you or bad for you? Snaggle Sticks. What do you all think?
Smoke Daddy.
Jaja says it's so good. Robert Vole says bad. Nick says it's got to be bad. That's funny. That's Smoke Daddy. Yeah. Jaja, Space Jerky. All right. BBG. Yeah. BBG, tell us about the Snaggle Stick.
Oh, it's a consumable food used to restore the player's hunger. Snag one of these premium protein sticks and experience the ultimate in real meat snacking. They put that in quotes. The Smoke Daddy, in particular, stick features an extra blast of intense smoky flavor that delivers satisfaction. This is 5 AUEC. The NDR on this is 14, so not as high as in other stuff we've seen. And it does dehydrate you. One of the buffs is dehydrating. But it is, interestingly enough, hypertrophic.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so hypertrophic, remember, provides additional blood flow and nutrients to key muscle groups to make them perform optimally. So it will get you over on moving some cargo or whatever you need your muscles to perform optimally over the short term, but then you're going to be dehydrated on the back end.
Yep.
Let me throw this question to you guys. Not on the script. It just showed us this new thing about cargo, right? The new cargo things they're building when you distribute cargo on your ships. And one of the things has to do with even the placement of cargo in relation to weight. You with me so far, right?
Right.
So when you're stocking up your ship, is it easier to put some Snaggle Sticks on that sucker versus putting cans of pips? Do you think CIG will go that far? That they'll actually make it that when you're stocking up food and stuff on your ship, weight and size is a factor on your ship? Kelosal, you a big guy about living in space, and stocking up your ship. Do you think that they'll go that far even with food, that how many cases of Snaggle Sticks versus how many cases of pips will make a difference?
Well, I don't. It's going to be interesting to see that. I believe we did talk about in previous shows that they were going to put weight in regards to your commodities and your storage that you put on there as a factor of how much your ship can carry. I mean, I just came from an airplane, guys, and as I was walking onto American Airlines, the lady was saying that we have a weight restriction.
Right.
On our airplanes. So I am sure that they're going to have a weight restriction dealing with the cargo versus the amount of commodities that you can bring. In addition to what you can bring on your ship for longevity, such as, the carrick and things like that. So I'm quite sure they'll probably have some type of restriction.
Interesting. BBG, you think they'll take weight to that level? I mean, we know they're talking about commodities. But
I'm almost sure that when they talked about the cargo refactor, that there was a sentence or two on that video where they talked about weight distribution mattering. So if weight distribution matters, that's a subset of weight overall. And I think that when you're talking about that, you're talking about start stop, and you're talking about Atmo versus in deep space, and I think that is going to be a factor. So I think not all cargo cases are going to be the same.
Okay, fair enough.
So It's going to be interesting. It's interesting because right now we don't have the weight of individual items.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a powerful question, right?
I guess the other question would be, if or when, how much of a restriction are they going to put on your ships? If they are doing that, or if they're going to do that,
can you overload
will they allow
your ship?
you to overload your ship? And because we've seen pictures of airplanes where the airplanes is overloaded, and we see the airplane shift, and the airplane can't trim right, and before you know, that airplane crashes. So will we see any types of things like that? Don't know, but it's going to be interesting to see if they decide to go ahead and go that route.
Good point. Okay. All right, next one up. Boom, 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 boom. Synergy drinks. Synergy sport. What do you guys think about this one? The green and gold, or green and orange, I should say. Is it good or bad for you? Good or bad?
Good or bad, chat?
What do y'all think?
Good
Bob says good. Fish says good. Okay, go map. Good. Okay, Malkari, good. All right. Who read last on that one? Was that
I think I did.
You did?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead, Colossal. What about this one? Synergy.
So Synergy and Synergy Plus, I'm going to read Synergy Plus, is formulated to deliver balanced active rehydration for an extended duration, allowing for continued harmony in motion. This, guys, has an HEI of 48. I definitely have at least 3 or 4 of these in my 315. HEI of 48. It has a buff of energizing and hydrating. So these are definitely good commodities to bring up on your ship. Definitely good.
For those of you that want to support Earth-based business versus Terra or other places, this is manufactured by Sakura Sun. Out of Tokyo on Earth. So.
Given to us in 3.9, patch 3.9. So interesting. Patch up on these, guys. Stock up on these.
Good one. All right. Here's one that we all love to hate. The infamous torpedo burrito.
Yes.
The torpedo burrito. So you have the citrus beef, the masala, and the chile. What's that? Chile bria? Oh my God. Chile bria, I think it is. And I don't know what that one in green reads as. Maybe you guys can read it. My lights are too bright. Good or bad, y'all? Good or bad? Torpedo burritos. What do you think? We don't have them on the list, but we can already tell you what the status is on them bad fellas. All right. They are not that good for you. I don't remember what the rating is on them, so forgive me on that, but I know that they're okay, but they're not good for you. Which is kind of leading us into some other questions I want to ask about the 4-letter word of this game. But we'll get to that in a minute. Let me go to this one first. Vestal water.
Yeah.
BBG, can you talk about that? We see these commonly even in clothing stores.
Yeah, Vesta's everywhere. Everywhere I go. And this is sourced from carefully selected water-rich asteroids. This crystalline pure water contains naturally occurring minerals for a smooth, refreshing taste that makes it a perfect choice for all your hydration needs. This Vesta water is 3 AUEC. And it is an HEI of 44 with an additional buff of hydrating. So it's probably good that a lot of the places that we go, we can pick some of this up because it can really immediately solve for your HEI issues.
In general, it quenches your thirst.
Yeah.
But no big boost. No extra boost beyond thirst quenching. That's it.
So I have a question with this one, Griff, because there's also a stat that says there's 1,100 USCU. So can this be a part of your storage along with the containers for not only for sale, obviously when we start doing the trading routes, but not only for sale but also for consumption?
That's what I was talking about. I'm wondering whether or not when you're stocking your ship, when you're carrying stuff on you, will this weight from these items now have impact? Whether it's because you're running and you've got, are you carrying 8 bottles of water on you? You know what I'm saying? Or like you said, like when you stock up your ship, if I buy a crate of water because I'm going to be out for the next 2 weeks, will that have a weight impact on the performance of my ship? So yeah, this is one of the few items that did have the weight listed on it. And maybe that's because the rest of them, they haven't gotten there yet. But some people in the chat are saying, nah, they may not do it. Other people are saying, yeah, we hope they do it, because I think it should be a factor, because it'll definitely make you think about what you want to take with you, whether it's just on your body, in a vehicle, on a ship, or whatever.
Yeah, when we think about different gameplay styles, my hope is that CIG continues to do what I feel like they've started to do, which is to balance for folks who want to jump in and do whatever it is they want to do and are willing to suffer the cost of not paying attention to this stuff in detail, and still can get a game session in, but just not as optimal as somebody else who is doing the real planning, paying attention, selecting food and drink for certain mission types and activities, and who, as a result, gains all of those benefits. And to Colosal's earlier point, maybe can even stack benefits if they've really looked at it in detail. So, my hope is that if you don't want to look at any of this stuff, you're still going to be able to engage, right, and play and jump in, but maybe not optimally, right? Whereas somebody else who's done the work is going to get the benefit.
I would like to apologize to Jad because I was out with my good buddy Cosmic when they put out the new lake or the new river system at Microtech, and I left a bottle of Vestal on a rock on purpose to see if there was persistence. So I didn't pollute at the lake. So I'm sorry about that.
Oh God!
What was that? Owl, give a hoot, don't pollute.
Right. Woodsy the owl. Okay, let's talk about some stuff that's not listed. Spirits. What are you guys' thoughts about this in game? CIG hasn't talked about this, and some of you were around back in the day when we had the bar. It was a what do you call those items? Hanger item, a flare. Yeah, and you go to Mr. whatever his name's bar. And those of you who were around back in the day remember that you could go up there, pull these bottles out and drink from them and get smashed. Certain ships in the game and locations in the game have alcohol. Interesting that beer in this game, even though people love having beer, they also put in the actual attributes of it. Dehydrates you, kind of puts you out. What do you think about the alcohol they have in the game? And there's nothing listed on these guys, so understand that. We're just talking about what do you think, because they do have it in the game in different locations. Will this be something that people have to be careful with?
If I pull out my Constellation Phoenix and I go behind the bar and I start drinking everything that I have back there, it ought to be impacting my HEI. It ought to impact it in a similar way to the beer that we have in game. I want to. It ought to also dehydrate me as well, and increase the rate of water loss from my body. So my hope is that will happen. But CIG can also make that type of thing fun. Right, they could have a certain amount of emojis, or emotes that are available to us, and then if you drank enough beer or alcohol, maybe a subset of 3 or 5 emotes unlock that allow you to demonstrate how intoxicated you are.
Well, you just started going down a path that I was thinking about, Kelosal. What kind of gameplay mechanic could come out of this? Could there be a mechanic that I go to Wally's, I ask for a certain drink. That certain drink asks, like if I say, can I have Jinx? And the bartender comes back to me and says, here's your drink. And now I get to ask him a question. that he can answer. Because they say that there's a bartender that works at Wiley's who's an informant. So how do we get that informant to talk?
I mean,
I know reputation could be a factor, but I'm saying, could they put in some weird mechanic that if I drink a Jinx and then I get a glass of Radagast, this bartender will now start blabbing a little bit?
I mean, maybe they could put in a game, a game within that conversation where you guys play a game and you force him to drink, check to see who drinks the most or what have you, and you can force him to drink a lot and blab. I'm just hint CIG, just something that you can put in for that conversation. I mean, it's going to be interesting on how they do that. I don't know which way they're going to take that, Griff, but that's an interesting scenario. What I can add to this is that this reminds me, when I heard BBG talking, this reminds me of, they actually had the effects of consumption put in way before 3.9 and 3.10. Remember when we had those hangers?
Yeah, or some of the hangers, the flare.
Right, and we had the hanger flares. And you could actually, if you got the hanger flare with the bar, you could actually, at one point, you could actually open it up. You saw the cold air come out from it. Okay, and you could actually pick up one of those drinks. I don't know if all these drinks were in there, but there were a lot of them drinks. You could actually pick them up, and you could actually drink or consume one of the items. And one of the, I want to say it was a pink one. I don't know if it was Jinx or it was a pink one. You actually started to see white and pink.
Right. I remember that.
Right. And that was long ago. So it reminds me, I remind myself, wow, we got the foods in the game right now, but we had this tech in when we had the hanger flares. So it's just an aha moment for me.
Yeah.
Well, and if standard deviation in the chat says the number of drinks consumed increases the odds of incarceration. You know, I think that you could have a random number generator and type of gameplay on that where
you've had too much to drink.
You drink too much, and all of a sudden you black out and you wake up in prison because you did something. You just don't know what you did.
Interesting. Yeah, Mr. Refinement's Cabinet of Rare and Exquisite Spirits was the name of that flare. That's it. Okay. Good point.
There you go. That's that links right there in the middle with that pink label.
All right. What about fruit, y'all? By the way, fruit in the game is good for you always. Always good. There's no bad ones yet. No bad ones yet. Do you guys ever grab these or do you ignore them?
I have. And I've realized they give you less HEI or NDR than the actual produced items.
Right.
Yeah, that was exactly my pathway of play, Kelosal. I grabbed them earlier on and then realized it was just better to go get that smoothie.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some items on here that that just aren't, it's not even worth picking up. I mean, the blue one is okay. I can tell you now, I do have them. You do find a lot of these in loot boxes,
right?
Especially the blue item. I forgot what the blue one is. Forgive me, guys. I forgot what the blue fruit is called. But I tend to pick them up.
It's called blue fruit.
Yeah.
The reason why I pick them up is this. A lot of times I want to save my the other items. So what I do is, instead of just going headstrong into the protein shakes or the protein bars, I consume the fruits first. Get them out of the way, and then once I've depleted that, then I go for the items that's going to give me a substantial boost, unless I really need that boost. Make sense?
Right.
So that's what I usually do with these. So these are good to keep. These may be one of those where you may just have one of these out in that desert that has nothing else for you, but you just may have this fruit that may keep you alive for a little bit longer. So they're good to get, but they won't give you that much.
I think that's exactly right. In that, Griff, I think these things will have a larger role to play as we see ourselves in more systems and settings.
Agreed.
Right.
Agreed.
Especially if they attach weight to these things, as you referenced as a possibility earlier, right? You might be able to carry 6 or 7 of these that might get something done, and it might be a different and much less weight than carrying 3 or 4 smoothies.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, let's not forget, guys, that there is going to be a biodome that they're going to give you for the Endeavor.
Mhm.
They are going to give you scientific ways to go ahead and remod these or things like that. I mean, they do have that, Patamba juice.
Mhm.
So we do have a Patamba fruit right there. I believe it's the one over to the right. I believe. Is it the one to the right or the yellow one?
I think it's that one.
Way over to the right?
It's not the
Second to the
avocado
right.
looking one. Yeah, second to the right.
Okay.
Mhm.
So if obviously that drink is in game, that is a juice from that product, I wouldn't doubt that they're going to be able to allow you to make that in your lab.
Mm.
So that way you can go ahead and grow the fruits in one of your biodomes, and you can produce it instead of going to the store to buy it. They can come to and get it from you.
That would be cool. That would definitely be
So,
cool.
I mean, we do see the lab stations when you go down to the planets or the moons, and you go to one of those scientific hubs down there. You do see a lot of the scientific setup.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of those biodomes where they're growing foods and things like that, where they're, all that stuff like that. So pay attention to that, guys, because a lot of the times they put those things in there to tell you that these are going to be in game and it's going to be functional in some way, shape, or form.
What's the place down there? There's Family Harvest. What's the name of that joint?
You got Tram and Myers Farm, I believe. Family Harvest.
Yeah, Family Harvest. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Here's a couple of last ones we're going to hit. A couple of stores we hit. Some of you all have seen these before. Twins. These are basically like, when you go to those places like a 7-Eleven or something, and they got the sandwiches that are already pre-made and cut in half. That's these sandwiches. Believe it or not, these are good for you. They're good for you health-wise, but they do nothing else. No buffs, nothing else to them. But they do feed you. So, again, something to eat if you're just hungry, just like how we look at the water. If you're thirsty, yeah, but no buffs to it.
So that's just to go back to the other part that I love, Griff, which is exactly what you're talking about, what you're doing over there at the club when you're drinking a drink and things like that. Role playing could be used for these things, guys, as well. When you're trying to, every time when I go to Microtech, the first thing I do is strip off and get into the shorts that you have. Yes. And I just start running around the track. I just start running around the track and just start talking in open mic, hoping that somebody's going to say something. And then after that, I go straight to this bar and I get something to eat. And I usually run with it and ask people if they want a piece. So, I mean, this is, you're right. There is no buff to this, but boy, does it fill your NDR up really quickly. And I think it's a good, I can't remember what the stat is, but I believe it's over 30, I believe, for the NDR.
Yeah.
I cannot wait to catch you running around the track. I cannot wait for that.
Hopefully. I ran by Salty Mike. He didn't even know who I was. I was like, hey, Salty.
We're going to save the best for last, of course. My favorite, whammers. Whammers.
Yes.
They fill you up, but man, they're terrible. Not good for you. You will get hungry very quickly after eating these, and you'll get dehydrated. Dehydration follows them. Actually, you don't get hungry. It's dehydration that follows behind them. So,
but they hurt so good, Griff.
I know. And they got varieties, right? Oh my God, they got the deluxe whammer, the regular whammer, the double whammer. Even got a vegan whammer, a chicken whammer. So, yeah, whammers. We'll go there. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and bring this back around. And we're going to answer questions because we got a ton of questions. So let's change that. Go back here. And let me read the first question to you guys here. Wow, question from 2 hours ago. Why don't oysters donate to charity? Because they're shellfish. Okay. Yeah. Okay, thanks, Pops. We appreciate that.
Only because it's Pops. Will I give you a giggle?
Pops, right? Pops says this is Alien Week. Do you think they'll have any type of brand new foods that the other aliens produce? Do you think that they'll introduce alien food into the game?
So I hope and pray that is one of a big set of factors that we do actually experience. You know, I've said, as a guest on the show here, that I am really looking forward to the idea of moving out of human space, moving into those sort of neutral zone systems that sit between Xi'an or Banu space, and then earning the right to enter into Banu space, earning the right to go to their home worlds. My hope is all that gameplay is in there and is rich, and that this is a part of it, that as we move closer to systems that are majority alien or another species, that we start to see a shift in the majority of food and drink that's available at their stations and their spaces and places. So I really do hope that not only is it in the game, but it's deployed in a fashion that makes you start to realize in an emergent way you're in some place very different than human space. So I would be very excited for that. I got big dreams, Griff.
I know. I hear you. I got
big dreams.
Good stuff. Kelosal, is there a possibility that food, we're talking about like fruit's not a big deal to us, could it be a big deal to an alien race? If we meet the Xi'an, will, those apples have value maybe to them that we don't think very much about?
I mean, you could. There are going to be things in the game where you can only get from certain planets or certain races, or even grow them in certain different types of climate, temperatures, or even in space. So if they're putting that type of gameplay in game, then I'm quite sure they will allow us to, maybe during the celebration, maybe during the Soli celebration, we may have to bring a specific fruit that the Banu know and love, or things like that. So yeah, I'm quite sure there's so much you can do around lore with that. So yep,
right,
wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
All right, next question again is from Pops. Will our suits ever have automatic feeding function? In other words, will you be able to leave your helmet on and still eat?
In other words, he wants to be a Darth Vader.
or Paul Atreides with his still suit.
Pops with CIG on that one. We don't know. Suits are going to change a lot. They talked about suits actually taking damage, needing to be repaired, whole lot of stuff. So food.
If you fly Drake, you're gonna need one of them because they don't have no toilet anyway. So you're gonna need something that process everything.
Yeah, for real.
Look, I would entertain that, Pops, the minute they have some type of diapers in your suit.
Yeah. We got one from one line. I'm not sure where this is going in relation to the game. He says nutritionists should work with the people, not for the companies, that I believe. So I guess he's saying they need to be producing better stuff for people and not crappy food, which we know that quite often it's about the bottom line. So unfortunately, one line, that's how the world is, right? And I guess in some ways that translates into the game.
Well, listen, we're in a corporate system.
Yeah, true.
Stanton is. System.
Yeah, Stanton is. Very true.
Right.
Very true.
So we shouldn't expect anything other than the corporations to be leading us. Now, when we get somewhere else, we can expect something else.
Good point. This one's from Jaja. Do you think we are going to be able to eat and drink while seated, like when you're in the cockpit or in the passenger seat?
I don't think they're gonna go that far. That's interesting.
Well, but Kelosal, they gave us the ability. We didn't used to have the ability to look at our Moby glass when we were seated, but now we do, right?
And they're going to let you do weapons now when you're riding in vehicles.
Right.
I mean, it'd be interesting to see how they do all that.
Pull an apple out of your body armor and start chewing on it. You don't think they'll give us that? It could happen.
Well,
a little more work.
That's a lot more work.
It's like right now, you can't pull up inventory while you're seated.
Correct.
Yeah, I hear you on that too. Like, if they ain't already done it, I don't want them to redirect it to it.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, because I'm like, Lord, 4.0 need to come around the corner.
Right. Yeah, maybe we ought to be quiet.
All right. John has got another question. I would like to ask you all to share your thoughts on how a science research mechanic might utilize food. Would it be research-based? And do you sell the recipe? Klaus, you touched on this a little bit about the endeavor, being able to grow things and manufacture from there. And I guess this question is, can we not only grow an apple, but can we also in some way or other on a research level create other things maybe?
I mean, if there are ships that are designed to do that with the many Going back to the Endeavor, which would be the last ship to be made, Endeavor has several modules that you can go ahead and attach to. I think 2 at a time as of right now. You can attach 2 biodomes. You can attach a landing bay and a hospital wing if you want to, or things like that. You can attach a science station that does do exactly what you're saying there. There are things that they've talked about to where there are items that are going to be rare. Will I sell the recipes? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm gonna let you figure out what's going on. I may tell you I have it, but I'm not selling you that recipe, because that recipe I may have may be 10 times better than the one that you have. You know, you may have a basic brand. I may have figured out how to modify to the point to where I'm going to make more, or it's going to give me more buffs than what you have currently with your particular build. And I'm never going to sell that recipe out. I may sit there and talk to people about how to probably get there, or at least give you the basics. It depends on how intricate their system is. I mean, we see games out there right now like Mortal Online 2. Mortal Online 2 has a very, very robust, very detailed, very rigorous system on alchemy. The hardest trait in the game, the hardest one. And I'm doing that. And people don't want to tell their secrets, man. That's probably the hardest information gathering to get. So I would say no, I wouldn't sell it if it's going to be generating that much revenue.
Yeah,
I like the idea of putting dramatic choice in the hands of the player, right? So the same sort of sub mechanisms that we have for mining that allow us to do a variety of things with the things we mine, including multiple forms of refinement and refining. I could see a model where I come up with a certain level of crafting and mix that produces some foodstuffs that really give me a benefit towards Kelosal's point that you don't really see out there with any other food item. And I want to keep that to myself. But I'd also like the opportunity to do something like take it to some sort of food refining or food manufacturing and put that out in the world and see it be picked up, sold, and enter into the economy. All right. So, and if it's something that really has these inordinate benefits, if I figured out a crafting model that has these inordinate, like standard deviation in the chat said, if I got the 11 herbs and spices on that Tavares, right, that maybe I gain some market share with that recipe and formula, right, and it becomes a manufacturing concern and an opportunity like that.
That would be fun.
Face to Face talks about reverse engineering his stuff. Could be.
Yeah. That would be fun. That would be fun. Okay. All right. Thanks, Jada. Good question. And last but not least, from Sandgroper. Do we know what the different aliens taste like yet?
The chicken.
The quote fast cut chicken.
Well, hey, there is one commodity we didn't talk about in this game. I don't know if my 2 colleagues here saw it on the sheet. Did you guys see it? Human food bars?
Yeah, I'm glad you skipped it because that concerns me deeply. I feel verklempt.
Yeah, so we don't know about any aliens yet, so I'm going to just leave that there, saying Groper. You know, maybe in the game you can find out if you want to roast the Van Duel and see what he's like. Hey, have at it, Hoss. Yeah, that's what I'm going to say about that. One of the subjects that we said we were going to talk about, and this is not on anything. I'm just getting these guys' opinions because CIG alluded to it a few weeks ago, and that is the bathroom mechanic. All this consumption of food and drink, and we know there are bathrooms on the ships. What are your feelings? I'll go to BBG first. What are your feelings about toilet mechanics? Pooping. Do you want to see it in the game? And if you do, how? And if you don't want to, why not?
I can imagine why people would be very disappointed spending any time having to manage the water closet. I think that we built these toilets and these showers for a reason. And I think in this level of detail, for me, Star Citizen is all about scale and detail. And for me, the detail of it is I do want it, and I want to implement it in such a way that, again, if I choose not to pay attention to certain things, I can run around and there's going to be a cost to me of being constipated and stopped up, right? There's going to be a cost to me of not taking a shower, right? But if I decide to pay attention to that detail, I gain benefits. So that's the way I sort of want to look at it. But I want it implemented in such a way that it isn't too onerous. I like the way that they're testing the different rates of buff and decay with food. They ought to do the same thing around the toilet impact and the shower impact. So yeah, I'd like to see it in the game. I think it's going to be part of my gameplay if it's implemented in that way where, it's one of those things that if I decide to take the 30 seconds to a minute to pay attention to that, I can gain access to some buffs and some stuff that in normal gameplay where people aren't caring about that, they're not going to get those advantages.
So there are games out there that do take some of these into consideration. We can talk about Ark. We can talk about Atlas. You can hear whenever they use the restroom, you can hear them pass gas or loose flatulence, whatever you want to call it, or things like that. There are games like Red Dead Redemption where if you have blood on you and you're hunting animals and you're downwind or upwind, then they can smell that. So sometimes you have to go into the river and wash it off. There are games that do have those features that take that into account. I'm assuming, and I'm not going to go on theory crafting, but if they put a toilet on a cutlass, then they are intending for that to be a part of gameplay. I don't think that's just an aesthetic look because I can deal without it. So if they are trying to do that, I guess it's going to be difficult to answer the question on how is that going to affect you in game, especially when you're out there in a ship like a mantis who's sitting out there for hours at a time waiting for a prey to come out so you can go ahead and knock them out of corner. We don't see a toilet seat in the mantis. Yes, we do. There's a restroom in the mantis, right? There's a restroom in the mantis, I believe.
I think, yeah.
So yeah, there's a toilet right on the side of the wall. There's one on the either the left or the right hand side, not on the side where the bed is, but on the other side. Right. So obviously, this is going to be interesting. And how much of an effect is it going to be? Is it going to be every hour? Is it going to be just once a day? I would prefer for it to be the latter, because I don't want it to be that much a part of gameplay. But we'll see how they put that in. But my guess is they're going to put that in. They got no choice but to, because they already have those features for you to use them in game.
Yeah. I'm glad you said that there are other games. The game that I know that probably has the most detail with nutrition and toilet mechanics is Scum. Scum, like even the types of food you eat will set you off. And you can be in the middle of doing something, and when it's time for your bowels to release, if you hold out too long, the game stops you wherever you at. And you got to go. Now, obviously, the types of food you eat can determine how long it takes before that to happen. In other words, if I eat that nutrition bar, I might be able to go 3 hours without having to go. If I eat that greasy hot dog, I might have to go within 30 minutes. There's a lot of stuff that they could do that helps you in choosing what type of food. And if you're in a situation where you're forced to eat bad food, then you already know, before we get off this freaking Valkyrie, let me go to the can before I go into this battle. I mean, I can see it as being something that we just have to be aware of, but not so game breaking or game whatever that it ruins the experience. And if I don't go, it's because it's like when I don't bring food, right? Or when I don't drink water, it's because I forgot I didn't bring it. There are so many ships that have bathrooms, to your point, Kelosal. It's hard for me not to believe that mechanic is not going to have something meaningful. Very few ships, other than, with fighters, we get it. But almost everything that's mid-range, long-range has a bathroom. And so I think CIG, I'm looking forward to seeing what they come up with.
Yes.
What they come up with. That's what I'm looking forward to.
That's almost my theme statement for the whole of Alpha, which is I've been enjoying, for the most part, what folks who are thinking about this every day come up with, right? And then us on the side as alpha players get to engage with that, and they get all kinds of metrics back from that, not just what we say on Spectrum and Reddit, but they watching what we actually do, right? And balance accordingly. So so I'm looking forward to see what they do about it. It's gonna be interesting.
Okay. Fist to Face asks our last question. Do you think they'll allow us to lace somebody's food or drink with a laxative? Well, Fist, I will just say there's no laxatives in the game right now, so if they give us a laxative, we'll have to see what happens.
That's awful. Let's go ahead and
Griff, if they give us a laxative, what will happen.
God, I don't even want to begin to think about if they give us a laxative in the game. Okay.
This is a community that was overdosing people on day one.
I know. If you guys would help me out here, Kelosal, could you tell them about Thursday nights, please?
So Thursday night is our episode where we do Soul Talk on Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. And please come in to watch us. We go ahead and bring in different folks of our community, different folks that you're invited to come in and talk with us. We talk about anything that happens throughout the week, throughout the month, anything with the current patch, anything that we want to talk about in Star Citizen. You're invited to come talk to us. So please, if you're part of the community, come in and talk with us. Our team is definitely going to be in and talk to you guys as also Thursday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern, Soul Talk.
And on Saturdays at 3 p.m., we do Soul Voices, which is our one-on-one conversation. Thursday night is our group conversation. Saturday is our one-on-one conversation. And we get to come in and talk about things that are in Spectrum and Reddit and in the gaming industry. So hopefully you guys will be able to come and join us there on Saturdays. Both those shows are on YouTube, by the way. And because it's BBG's first day with us once again, congratulations on your first day. You've made it through. Good job, buddy. And because he's watched this show so much, I'm going to ask him to introduce next Sunday's show, which he's never done before. Could you tell us about next Sunday, please?
So next Sunday at 8, it's Soul Citizens. You all know the show. You're here for the show. And it's our Shipyard series. So we'll be focusing in on Drake Interplanetary. For those of you that fly Drake ships, want to know more about Drake ships, want to engage deeply on Drake, that's the time and place to be. Sunday, 8 p.m. Soul Citizens.
Look at that. He did that like he'd been here forever, man. Look at that. Can you believe that? And then, he has been here forever. He's been sitting in chat forever. That's where he has been here forever.
Watching it go down. That's right.
Snatch him in here about time.
I know. Well, listen, also next week on that show, Paul Shelley, the lore master of Star Citizen, is going to be our guest. So we hope you guys can join us on next Sunday for that show. Other than that, that's it. We hope that you all have enjoyed the show, enjoyed the topic, enjoyed our banter. Thank you all for participating in our little quiz time. Thank you all for being so warm and gracious to BBG, who is now part of our team. And thank you all for just kind of hanging out with us today on Father's Day. And for many of us, Juneteenth. You don't have to be here, but we always appreciate that you guys are. So
we're absolutely thankful. Good stuff.
Always thankful. Always thank you. So we're going to close out. We'll see you guys this week. Hopefully stay safe, stay healthy. And Kelosal, go ahead and say the last words for me.
Peace, love, and soul.
See you guys later. Take care.